Bomber TV. Hi guys, Bomber here. Welcome back to the channel, and before we start, a huge thank you to all of my patrons. If you want to join them, please consider checking out the links down below in the description and the pinned comments down below. So yeah guys, in today's video we're going to look at the top 4 spells in Legends of Runeterra. I recently made some polls over YouTube. If you want to join them, please consider subscribing here to the channel so that you can see them more often, I guess. And yeah, I basically made first brackets by region, and every best one of those from the region advanced to the semifinals. In the semifinals I had two voting polls, one with 4 spells from the 4 regions and one other with the other 5 regions. I couldn't make it even because we have 9 regions at the moment. I could have made maybe 3 polls of 3 spells, but yeah, I guessed that having 2 was the best. The best 2 ones of those advanced to the finals, and in the finals we got the top 4. Now I have another poll, asking for the best followers. So please check my page, my community tab, and there you will find all the polls. In there you can vote to have your favorite followers in the next video with the top 5 followers. So without further ado, let's take a look at the top 4, the 4th spell in Legends of Runeterra. So yeah guys, at the 4th place we actually have Mystic Shot. Mystic Shot is a 2-mana spell, fast speed from Piltover Zone, and it is very simple, deal 2 to anything. And the fact that this spell is so simple is probably what made this card be so high in this list. Really, it is very efficient, a 2-mana deal 2, you can remove a 2-drop, a 3-drop some of the times. I'm thinking about 3-mana 3-2, I can't think of one off the top of my probably at Z, so you can take some value even from a 2-mana spell. Gaining 1 mana of advantage in the early game is very important, and it is still relevant later on in the game, because you can finish off a trade. Maybe they made a combat trick, so you can finish off the combat trick. It basically counters the combat trick, or you can use it as a way to finish off your opponent. Sometimes they are at 2 or 1 health because they heal or something, and then you can burn them out. So the fact that this card is so simple yet so reliable and so what can I say, it's always useful. So every time you are playing in Piltover Zone, it is a very good reason to go into Mystic Shot, for sure. And so yeah, that's why this card is so high in this list. So let's move on to the 3rd place. At 3rd place, guys, we have Troll Chant. Troll Chant is one of the newest cards, actually from Call of the Mountain, but we saw that before we had a Mystic Shot, which was from the Foundation, and then we start to see new cards. Troll Chant, by the way, is a 2-mana burst speed spell from Feljord, which reads, give an ally +0/+2 to give an enemy -2/-0 this round. So this card is very strong. The fact that why this card is so strong is that not only it provides a protection from a spell or from a challenger or whatever, but also you can take a 2-for-1 with just a 2-mana burst card, because you give the health to one of your units. Maybe you are blocking, or you are attacking and they are blocking, but let's say that you are blocking most of the time. So yeah, you can protect one of your blockers, and you can reduce the attack from another attacker so that you can protect another blocker as well. So that's where the 2-for-1 is. But not only, in this way you can basically get a 2 attack or defense differential in 2 spots. So in that way you can get a 2-for-1. But if you need it, you can also increase the health and reduce the attack on the same attacker-blocker pair, to get a 4 differential on the same attacking-blocking couple. And also that flexibility, the fact that you can, this could either be a 2-mana 4 differential on the same pair, or 2-mana 2 differential on 2 different spots. The fact that this card is so efficient and yet also so reliable and flexible at doing what it does, it probably is what makes this card so strong. Again, you have the possibility to have a 2-for-1 or to have a pretty broken 4 differential for just 2 mana. If you compare it to something like an Elixir of Iron, for example, this is on paper 2 Elixir of Irons in the same place, but the fact is that they are bundled. You only have to spend 1 card to have 2 elixir of irons for the same efficiency. This card has no additional cost. If it, for example, was 3 mana, this card will still be very, very solid, but at least it, how can I say it? It explained the fact that they are bundled, so they have to cast more, because you're not spending one more card to do the same effect. But yet it doesn't. It is just 2 elixir of irons on the same card, and that's completely insane. So now let's move on to the second place. And so yeah, guys, at second place we have Deny. 4 mana, fast speed spell from Ionia. Stop a fast spell, slow spell, or skill. The card that we all know, hate and love, whatever you want, but yeah, it's very, very strong. Deny, when you are in Ionia, it's pretty much a must-have, because it is always useful. It always finds a place. It is a very strong card to counter certain archetypes, certain strategies. For example, imagine a Field Rush, or I don't know, an Atrocity. You know, all those big spell finishers, they can't be allowed with Deny, because, you know, you just say no. and that's funny, because that's also the flavor text, which I found hilarious. Anyways, it is also so strong that most of the times, if you are in a mid-range or control deck, which for some reasons it is mono region, it is a very good spot to just include a Deny, or 2 or 3 even, in a mono region deck, and that's what tells you that that spell is very, very strong. When it actually, when you are in a mono region and you want to include another card from another region, so decreasing the consistency of your allegiance effects or whatever, then you know that that card must be very, very strong. And in fact, we saw the same from Troll Chant. Troll Chant can also sometimes be found in mono region, Shadows Islands, aggressive decks. Instead, Deny can be found sometimes in you know, mono, Demacia, maybe going for the more mid-range decks, and you probably can find a Deny in there, because yeah, it's so strong. It's so sometimes, as I say, if you have the counter, the things that you want to counter against you, so Field Rush, Atrocity, you know, big spells, it is obviously very, very strong. But even if they don't have it, as I say, the fact that you can deny, you can stop something that your opponent was relying upon. You know, maybe they attacked into something because they had a combat trick or an AoE or something to make their attack worth it, and yet you deny that. This probably means that their attack also loses value, because they don't have that spell, that ability or whatever that made their attack worth it, or their block, you know. So yeah, the fact that you can, as I say, the fact that your opponent is doing something knowing that they want to do something more, and you deny that something more, meaning that their initial something was not that much valuable, it's what makes this card so strong. The fact that you can cripple your opponent's strategy is very, very valuable. And so now, with that said, let's move on to the first place. And here it is, guys. At first place we actually have Ash. So we had 2 cards from the Foundations, Mystic Shot and Deny, and we have 2 cards from Call of the Mountain. Actually, we have no cards from the new expansion. It is fairly new, the new expansion, so you are still missing some cards from it, so maybe more stuff will come into the future. But yeah, so here it is, Ash, the card that we all hate, probably, but now it's being toned down a bit. It started as a 3 mana burst, silence a unit this round, and you gained a fleeting copy of Ash into your hand. So yeah, basically as an Noxian Guillotine, you could repeat this effect. Then that was too strong, so they nerfed, actually they reworked it to 2 mana burst, silence a unit this round, but it was still too strong, and so they nerfed it completely with 3 mana, silence a unit this round. And now this card feels kind of balanced, it feels fair at least, but yeah, it is still very, very strong, of course. The fact that maybe they go for a Battle Fury and you say just Ash, you counter an 8 mana effect for just 3 mana. Some may argue that the fact that this is just for this round makes it kind of bad, but you have to look at this in a different scenario. When you are casting Ash, you know that that unit it's probably going to die anyways in a block, or you know, maybe you are casting removal, they cast a buff to counter your removal, and you go for Ash, so you know that that unit is dying anyways. So this is basically silence a unit to kill it. That's what it is. It is not for this round. You have to look at it that way. And yeah, that is obviously very strong. Also, it counters pretty heavily some other units that maybe buff their self. For example, we had Crowd Favorite in the back, we have Devo Endure, this card completely crashes Devo Endure, and now we have Nasus actually. So all those cards are being completely crashed by Ashe alone, and that's obviously very, very strong. And yeah, that's basically what this card is. It is also you know, on a design perspective, this card doesn't really appeal to me, because this means that you have to cast to play just units, just be very, very efficient at casting units. So Demacia, for example, is very good at doing that. In fact, Demacia doesn't really suffer Ashe all that much. So if you have only bland units, just stats, you know, then Ashe is not that strong. Instead, if you want to do something a bit better, you know, you want to have a lot of keywords on the same units, maybe you want to go for, I don't know, maybe a Victor. For example, imagine Victor. Victor is completely annihilated by Ashe. So, you know, Ashe means that you can't really go all in units, in buffs, which is still okay in some reasons. You can't go crazy. This is not a game where you can go crazy, for example, compared to something like an Hearthstone. But this also means that the game becomes a bit blunder, you know, a bit less interesting, which, you know, it's both, as I'm saying, it has both its pros and cons. But yeah, definitely the fact that such a card can actually define where the game is going literally tells you a lot about how this card is strong and meta defining, actually game defining. This card is probably a philosophy that Riot adopted for Legends of Runeterra, that you can't go crazy in this game. This is a strategical game, you can't do crazy stuff. You still can try to, but they shouldn't be as competitive, because you see cards such Ashe that completely annihilate you. And so yeah, guys, that's it for this top 4, and now I'll leave you to the outro. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, a comment, and checking out the links in the description and the pinned comment. In there you will find my Instagram, my Twitter, my Patreon, my Discord server, where you can continue to chat with me and all the rest of the community. So that's it for this video. Hope you liked it and find it useful, and as always, see ya.